welcome back to the Survival Series. I'm Bonita Gooch with the Community Voice newspaper. I'm the editor-in-chief there, and I'm with Angie Franklin today, who is the branch manager at Great Plains Federal Credit Union, their branch in Wichita.
Yes.
And we are socially distancing here in the pandemic, and we are greeting each other culturally. Okay, we've been talking a lot about finances today, and so now we've talked about a lot of great things. Hopefully you caught the first part. If you didn't, go back and listen to it. But the last thing on this finances we want to talk about is a big don't. And Angie and I are big on this one, and I'm going to show my front page of the Community Voice. The story is payday loans, solving the 400% problem. Get a chance, read the article.
Yes.
We got to get some solutions to that and that interest rate. But in the meantime, they're out there and people are using them. And Angie says,
No, just say no to
Okay.
payday loans.
Okay.
So I understand that many of you might be having some financial challenges. So if you can't find some kind of way, go through those clauses, find things that you
Right.
can sell.
Right. And
Things you haven't used.
That marketplace, that's really
Yes,
cool.
Facebook Marketplace.
You can raise $100 on Facebook Marketplace in no time.
That's right.
You really could.
Right. Be creative.
There's
Find
something
things.
you
Yes.
don't, something you don't need. Okay.
That's right.
Mhm.
So I would suggest doing that. And if you have a family member that might be willing to assist you, you might just reach out, but just make sure you pay them back. Okay.
And hopefully you haven't burned all those bridges.
That's
before.
right.
I hope
That's
you haven't.
right.
But maybe if they have, maybe a little promissory note or something, you can probably find one of those online. Maybe that might help. Something that might make them feel a little more comfortable with loaning you the money. Because I know you won't have much money, but something's going to be coming. Most of us, unemployment,
Right.
Our stimulus check, something of that sort.
Right.
So you do have something, but and I know you need that gap. You need to get some groceries. Let's talk about some of the services that are out there. There are people who are giving different things away. Get online and find out. And everything that we're finding, we're posting on the Community
Right.
Voice. So if we hear of anything where there's food given away, I know there's some other people that are helping to pay utility bills. We
Yes.
talked about that.
Right.
And I know a lot of people think, well, I don't need to pay my utility bills. Well, yeah, go ahead and pay them like we said.
If you haven't, pay it because it's going to be paid eventually.
Yeah,
So,
and it's Goodwill Industries that's doing the assistance with the utility bills. And
Okay.
they've got like $100,000 fund from the Community Foundation here in Wichita. But wherever you are, and we know we're talking here in Wichita, but we're talking about people all over the state of Kansas,
That's right.
the state of Missouri, everybody all over the world are having
That's right.
these problems, and we've got to be creative about how we deal with them. And
Yeah.
so some of the things that Angie said in our first section, again, if you didn't catch them, go back and listen, and let's see if we can get through this successfully. We've got to survive this pandemic
That's right.
of 2020, and hopefully we'll be giving you some advice in a continuing series of topics. If you've missed this one, we have others. Stay posted on our website, communityvoiceks.com, if you want to see some of the others that we have up, and we will be adding more and more on ways to survive the crisis. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed, and you'll see more of ours in the future. Hey out there, can't find your copy of the Community Voice? Stuck inside? Or your favorite location for picking up the paper is closed? Read the Community Voice online at communityvoiceks.com. And while you're there, sign up for one of our email lists. Have a great day. Hello, and welcome to the Survival Series. I'm Bonita Gooch. I'm editor-in-chief of the Community Voice newspaper, and my guest for this edition of the Survival Series is Angie Franklin. She is a branch manager at Great Plains Federal Credit Union in Wichita, Kansas. It's a credit union with branches in Missouri and Kansas.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've known Angie a long time, and she is my banker.
Yes, yes.
She is my banker savior. And we are, even though she is my banker savior, we are socially distancing as we need
Yes.
to, and we appropriately greeted each other when we got here
That's
today.
right.
And
Yes.
so we're doing that. But Angie's here to share, as part of our survival series, finances. I mean, we can't probably talk enough about finances, but we're going to hit some of the top things that we need to be doing. And if you're not doing them, you're probably going to come out on the other side of this worse off. And we know everybody's not going to come out of it smelling great.
Right.
But
right.
this is about how can I come out of it smelling the best I can.
Right.
Yes,
right.
I don't have a job. Yes, I am. My unemployment is not going to be enough. And even that little stimulus they're sending me isn't going to be enough.
Right.
But how are we going to make all this work? So, first thing you want to tell people, Angie.
Well, first of all, Bonita, thank you so much for having me. And good morning, everyone. And this is a really, really dire time for all of us. And so I'm hoping that I can share a few highlights for you. So the first thing, if you have been laid off or if your hours have been cut, immediately file for unemployment. Do not hesitate to do it. There have been special funds set aside for unemployment, so make sure that you get filed for unemployment right away.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that, Angie, that also it's not because you just have to be totally laid off. Your hours have been cut.
Yes.
If you can.
Yes.
So if you used to getting 40 and you're only getting 20 now because of the pandemic, you can go and get some benefits based on that loss of earned
Right.
income. So
Yes.
it's not totally without a job. Make sure you know that. So
Right.
if you're just suffering, but at least I got a job. Well, no, at least you got a job. If it's less than the job you had before, you can get unemployment.
Yes, there have been funds set aside for the coronavirus pandemic.
And
So
the other thing is, don't call.
Do not call.
Do not call. You're not going to get through. You're just going to be sitting online waiting.
Yes.
Go online.
Go online and apply for unemployment. One of the things that you could also do is check and see if your employer has applied for unemployment, because what they are doing is encouraging a lot of the employers to just apply as a group for their employees for unemployment. So communicate with your employer,
Yeah.
find out if they have applied for unemployment assistance for you. If they have not, then you need to do it for
And
yourself.
that's the best way. I mean, really, and that's what they're really encouraging. If you laid off a bunch of people, employer, if any of them are listening,
Yes.
they can file a worksheet for all of them, and it's done.
Right.
Instead of every little person having to do it on their own.
Right.
So, maybe you and a few other people who who work with you might say, hey, Mr. Jim, or whoever you are,
Right.
did you file for us?
Right, right.
And so encourage that, because that's the best way to do
Yeah,
it.
it really
Okay.
is, and it saves a lot of time and frustration.
Okay, so filing for unemployment, we're gonna hope we'll see a check sometime soon.
Right,
It's not gonna
right.
be much, but there's some extra coming from the feds.
Yes, from what I understand, federal government, a part of the stimulus package will be including an extra weekly amount for unemployment, for those applying for unemployment. So I believe that's going to be dispersed through the state, so.
Yeah, it'll come to the state back to you, so.
Yes.
Wait to see how that happens, and
Right.
again, they still have voted on that. I don't know as of now, they may have voted on it by the time anybody sees this, but it made it pass the Senate as of our recording, and it's on its way to the Congress, who's expected to pass it. And of
yes.
course, our president is supposed to sign it, so that's great. Okay, so I don't have a job. I'm waiting on my unemployment. What should I be doing next?
Okay, so first of all, breathe. We all are suffering right now.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I recommend, if you don't have a budget, now is the time to start a budget. And I know you're saying,
Angie, I have no money. What are you talking about, a budget?
that's right. So
Okay.
what a budget does is it helps you to actually see visually what your expenses are. Not here, but actually you can look at a piece of paper and you can see each of your expenses. And on that budget sheet, you want to list everything. Your rent, your utilities, your car payment, groceries, medical, everything. Okay?
And obviously, if you haven't ever had a reason to cut back, this might be a time to cut
Might be.
back. And I know sometimes when people do budgets and they want to say, I'm not going to have this, well, you know you are going to.
Right.
But now might be a time not to have
Not to
whatever
have-
that is.
That is so
Okay.
true.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so what also helps is that once you get that budget sheet, you can determine what are your needs and what are your wants. So a lot of times we have a lot of wants. Right now, we need to focus on the needs.
Okay.
Okay? And once you have that listed and everything, then you can determine what can I pay and what can I not pay.
Okay, and well, we need to prioritize. But let's talk about the things that by law now you have some extension on.
You have some extension on mortgage, rent. Well, I won't say an extension, but they cannot foreclose on you.
Right.
They cannot evict you. Okay? They cannot cut your utilities off. But that does not give you a pass not to pay them if you have the funds available to pay them now. Okay?
Because otherwise you just create the problem
You're
on the other side.
Yeah, you're creating a problem on the other side, down the road, around the corner.
Right. Okay.
So, this is what that budget sheet will also help you. What can I pay now? Okay. If you can pay your rent, if you can pay your mortgage, if you can pay your utilities, go ahead and do it, because we really don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know. So if you can pay them, then pay them. If not, then the key is to communicate with your landlord, communicate with your mortgage lender, communicate with your utility company. Just don't assume because the media is saying that they can't evict you, or they can't foreclose, or they can't cut your utilities off, that you could.
Oh, okay, now let's make sure we get this straight, because I know we'll reach a lot of area. Kansas has the rule that you cannot be, your utilities cannot be cut off. Missouri's governor has not passed that yet, so
Okay.
that's not a case there. So that's one. Okay, but also Governor Laura Kelly in Kansas went back and made sure it was clear that you cannot be foreclosed on or evicted if it's pandemic related.
Pandemic
Okay,
related.
so now
Yes, ma'am.
just because I don't want to pay, I need to be able to show. So this is the reason to communicate, okay? Because now it's just not a blanket.
Right.
It is pandemic related. So you need to be communicating to say,
Yes,
I
yes.
lost my job,
Yes.
or I lost my hours, I cannot pay. So
Yes.
it is very important to communicate.
Yes.
Okay, so-
Communication is so important at this time. It is so important. And, everybody wants to work for you, work with you. I don't think anybody wants to be shutting off utilities. None of these companies want to be doing that, because they all are experiencing some of the same things as well. So make sure that you communicate with them. And I cannot emphasize enough, when you do that, write down the date, the time, the name of the person you communicated with, and what the arrangement was. Because, believe it or not, sometimes things do fall through the crack.
Oh, no.
Sometimes things fall through the
Okay,
cracks,
they
so
do.
you need to be able to say,
Yeah.
oh no, I talked to Susie, and it was on March 30th.
At 9:51
That's right,
a.m.
that's right,
Okay,
that's right.
and she said.
And this is what she said.
Yeah, but another one that I just want to make sure a lot of people have not seen this one. Student loans. They are now going to stop garnishing student loans, and they're not coming after you for your student loans if you have them that are due. But the other one is, even if you are not behind on your student loans and you're a current person, you can get an extension of
Yes.
2 months on your student loans. So a lot of people don't know that
Yes.
one. So it doesn't have to be just that you're behind, but if you are current and it's going to become a strain, you can
Yes.
get an extension for 2 months. So make sure you know that one. That one kind of flew under the radar a little.
yeah.
And so I want to make sure everybody saw that one. That one came down from the federal government, so a lot of people have missed that one. Okay, so but you know what doesn't fall in there a lot, and I know you do a lot of these, Angie, is car loans.
Car loans, yes.
Car loans are not in there anywhere, folks.
That's right. So here's, if you are current on your car payment, most financial institutions are working with their, with the consumers to do a deferral. And all you need to do is just contact them right away and let them know that you've been laid off due to this pandemic, and many of them are just giving you deferrals. Some will waive late fees if you're just a few days late. So make sure that you contact them.
Okay, help me, what exactly is a deferral?
A deferral is where they will basically defer that payment for that month. So if you have a payment due today, they would defer that payment till April.
Oh,
Okay.
just 1 month? So you have to pay two? No?
No, what they generally do is they put that deferred payment or that deferred month on the back end of the loan. Now, some financial institutions, everyone is setting their own guidelines, so you want to contact them. There's not a blanket guideline for car deferrals, so you want to contact your financial institution and see what they have to offer.
Okay, and so, if you're late already, they're not probably doing this, probably.
Well, if you're late already, then you need to be calling right now. You need to be calling right now because we have not seen that repossessions have been put on hold. Okay, so if you are late, then you need to make a call right away, explain your situation, because a lot of times, because you're late, you want to avoid it, but this is not the time to avoid any communication with your lender.
Okay. So what's the chances you think of getting 2 deferments on a car loan?
At this point, it's kind of going to be based on how long this pandemic lasts. So I think that there's probably some financial institutions right now that are doing 60-day deferrals, but it's probably not a lot of them at this time, but it's possible.
Okay,
So,
one thing we want to talk about, we got to make sure we get this in here. Payday loans. Now, I know Angie and I don't know for those who've seen the current issue of the Community Voice, it is payday loans, solving the 400%